Hello, this is Courtney Isgett. This is ITD 709 video reflection for instructional design learning theories and principles. Instructional design is often referred to as a systematic process because of the steps that are taken, but a good way of explaining it would be creating content of high value in the correct way that best provides learning through engagement, experience, using prior knowledge and skill sets. The framework for creating lessons and modules related to learning through the form of instruction in technology design principles is another definition of instructional design. So basically in instructional design, we need to identify learning gaps through needs analysis. We need to select the proper learning strategies, select the objectives, compile the lessons and modules into a working prototype that others can see and try, which is very important. And then you get to make revisions as needed. And you get to receive valuable input from the working prototype. And I think that's probably my favorite part of instructional design is actually completing the working prototype. Let's see if I can. Okay. Instructional design cannot be partially constructed, it cannot be unsystematic, or completed on a whim. I don't know how instructional design could be completed in a couple hour time slot, like just thrown together. There are so many steps that need to be followed, and it is so important to make sure that you do not skip any of them and that you complete them all thoroughly, because it is almost like a domino effect. If you don't complete one, it's going to come down the line, and it's going to have some type of effect on your overall design. So instructional design should be consistent, which basically means that through the online learning, the prototype, people can see it, they can try it, and the results should be pretty consistent every time after all the kinks are worked out. It should be structured. It should engage the learner. It should be effective content of high value as well, and appealing and current, especially when it comes to forms of technology and staying current with those. So what is an instructional designer? It is a person who works to create designs that have a positive impact on learning and engagement through the use of many steps. These steps can be assessment, research, development, implementation of high-value designs. These designs can be used in any form of education or training. It doesn't just have to be education. It can be any form of learning. And it can be for online learning too, and especially for online learning because you have this technology barrier that you have to break through because you are not physically sitting in a classroom with these children or learners, students, I should call them. But it is important to have a design of high value that can engage the learners. Instructional designers use popular learning theories and models such as ADDIE, Assure, behaviorism, constructivism, and cognitivism. The difference between theories and models is learning theories explain an observation, or they predict through observations, test, research, and things like that, something. And so it can what is being explained in the particular theory, it can always be altered or modified over time as new information becomes available, and that's what's great about these instructional learning theories. Models are usually like figures, pictures, images, things like that explain some type of systematic process. So if there are steps involved or sequences or some type of explanation, a picture is always a great idea for people to understand the information that they are reading, such as these. So I made this one the Assure model and the ADDIE model. So you can pretty much look at it and you can see A-S-S-U-R-E, Assure. And then it pretty much tells you what the Assure model is, and you can look in, the information and read more into it. But as far as models go, these are pictures with information instead of just tons of words. So other popular models include Merrill's Principles of Instruction, the 9 Events of Instruction, and then, the popular taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy as well. Instructional design theories. We have behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. They're always tongue twisters for me. So the first one focuses on behaviors that are observed. The first one is behaviorism, and focuses on the behaviors that are observed quantitatively, which are overt behaviors related to behavioral patterns in response to emotions. The second is cognitivism, and it is the actual thinking of the individuals that are responsible for the behavior. It builds upon behaviorism. And then that is examined, and the thought process is examined using the experiences of those individuals. Constructivism is basically the thinking of the individual. They create their own personal visuals in their head to go with everyday structures in their life, and these are due to past experiences, skills, and knowledge, and things like that. The impact of instructional design in education and technology. I think that good instructional design can enhance learners' ability to obtain and retain new knowledge. It gets individuals interested and engaged through the design aspect of instructional design, and that is why the design aspect is so important. And in order to have a good design, you need to understand your learners. So learner acquisition and needs assessment are so important. You need to know your learners. Even if it's in an online setting, there are ways to figure out or make a best judgment of what your learners need. So you can create the best form of instructional design. You can use the correct theories and the correct models. So these are really important. It really does affect education, technology, learning paradigms, other learning paradigms, I should say. Learning acquisition, like I said before, working prototypes can help ensure validity and reliability. Integration of technology in learning, so, staying current with forms of technology, all of these things just they all work together to have such a huge impact on instructional design overall. Advantages of instructional design. Instructional design offers a step-by-step process, also known as a systematic design. Instructional design is always expanding, growing, and adding new things as innovation keeps building upon itself, as it always does, especially with technology. To think back 20 years into 1998 to 1999, when we were in the stone age of technology, it really is amazing how far we've come. So these learning theories and models that were, developed in decades prior to now, they are altered over time, because over time innovation keeps turning and building upon itself. So that really is another great advantage of instructional design. Another advantage is the combination of many different learning theories and models. So when an instructional designer uses not just one, one it's so limited when you just have one that you stick to all the time, because your learner, your possible learners are never going to be limited. It is going to be unlimited. You are going to encounter all different types of individuals throughout your time as an instructional designer and working with instructional design itself. So it's important to be exposed to all of the different models and theories. Organization of content, like I said, it can be tweaked and turned however it needs to be to kind of fit certain things, and that's great about instructional design, especially for an online setting. Limitations of instructional design. It's good to use more than one learning theory or model when you are creating your design. Selecting just one has such limitations, and you have people who are biased, who have their favorite one. And I, from what I was reading, a good way to tell from a good instructional designer to a not so good instructional designer is how they conduct their needs assessment and their learning assessment, and how they integrate these learning theories and models into their actual design process. So Analysis is often skipped sometimes, or it's partially completed, which, like I said before, creates a domino effect of a bunch of problems down the line. So if you are not going to complete analysis correctly, it really can waste your time and waste the individual's times who are learning. Systematic steps are not created in the design process, and that can cause a lot of confusion, especially in instructional design. You don't want to just jump from one thing to another to another. You want to have steps that build upon one another. Using prior knowledge, retaining new information with the prior knowledge is very important in instructional design. So, instructional design perspective. So, how I would apply it. I was making sure I didn't skip anything. I prefer using the 9 steps of instruction. And basically in Gagnes, I think is how you say it, 9 steps of instruction, I feel like it kind of reaches every aspect of instructional design, and that's why I like it. I also love using behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism as needed. And I love Addy and Assure as well. But, so for me, in applying it, I would be open to all of the different ones, and I would use the ones that I felt matched my learners. Because every class that I get will be different. Every set of learners will not be the same. So there's no way I could limit it to just 1 or 2, honestly. But I would use it in my overall design process. I would use what I could, I would create a design process that would be visually appealing as well as educationally engaging, so I can get the learner's interest, keep the learner's interest, and have activities that are geared towards their learning abilities and their interests as well, and still getting across what needs to be taught. Sorry, my voice is cracking, but for future use of instructional design, I mean, I just see it increasing in popularity of use as the ages keep going on, because like I said, innovation keeps turning and we keep having new things and keep learning, especially when it comes to the study of behavior and why people do what they do and how they retain information and why they learn certain ways and not other ways, and what are, learning theories and learning models. All of these things are so important in instructional design overall. They really is like a domino effect, as I keep, referring to. So theories and models can be modified over time to fit new forms of technology, applications on tools and other learning paradigms, and I just think that that's just awesome, because it's like our learning never ends. It keeps going. And instructional design will never end. It'll keep going. We'll keep trying to find new and better ways to have learners learn new forms of information and things like that, and I really think that's great. And the use of technology is everywhere today. And I just see it just continuing to grow. And our kids are really interested in technology, with the cell phones and computers and everything else that kids are into these days. So many parts of our lives have computers, and there are so many parts that rarely don't have them. So, I mean, technology is going to continue to grow and become, even greater than it has in the last 20 years. So, thank you. These are my references and my beautiful, beautiful pictures. Have a great day.